Sports listeners, I am your host, Erica Salda, the Queen of Teen. We welcome you to join us every single Tuesday at 9 a.m. right after the news. This is a whole hour of Santa Barbara teen athletes and all those people.
All right.
And all of those businesses that support those teen athletes. What are you going to say, Dr. D?
Hey, we're hot. We're hot.
I'm serious.
It's election day.
I don't know what. I think it's because we just rocked Steve Stokes. He's up in the house. He's up on the About Us page. Stevie's in the house.
All right.
I call you Stevie.
Hey, Stevie
I
works.
know.
All right.
He's
Glad
in the
to be
house.
here.
Yeah, you like that. It was so funny. I
That's
don't
right.
care. He doesn't know what I'm going to say.
And on this election day, make sure you vote early and vote often.
Yeah. As long as you vote, right? Who
Hey,
cares?
Get that
Who
little
cares?
sticker.
So funny because when I first got Steve, friends call him Stevie. When I first got his bio, it was only about a novel. It was bigger than the Ghost Towners. Here we got Jan in the house, but it was bigger than the Ghost Girl in car number 9, which we're going to talk about again today. And he just says it to me, and he goes, he didn't think that it was enough. And I'm like, holy, I don't think he's been to the About Us page. You try to keep it under 100 words. You know what I'm saying? You can't talk about yourself at 100 words. We got problems. I know everything about it. You want to test me? You want to test me where you were born?
I thought I was going to get 3 pages just dedicated to my bio.
I know.
What's the deal?
I don't know. It was awesome. No, I tell you.
We share. We
do. You have an extensive bio, though. You've done a lot.
I
feel like you're really young to do everything that you've done.
It's not about age. It's about experience, right?
Did you want to be like a professional? Because you didn't say this in your bio. Because I was laughing. I read it so many times. I'm not like a bio stalker.
Yeah.
Okay, but did you as a kid, like most kids, like my 2 boys, like my youngest still wants to get drafted. Did you? Because you have the body. You got the size.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So is that what your dream was? That you wanted to go professionally, or how?
I knew. I mean, everybody wants to play professionally, of course.
Not really.
But
not everybody wants to play.
That's true. But you could kind of tell that from an early age, like I was going to be like a good player,
right?
But not like next level kind. And so I think I wanted to be I know a lot of people grow up, they want to be policemen, firemen. At like 11 years old, I knew I wanted to coach.
See, there you go.
Yeah,
nice. That's awesome.
And
like a mentor.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And my first actual, I know I got my first high school coaching job when I was 18 years old, but my first actual true coaching experience, my dad was our baseball coach when I was 12 years old. We won the league championship, so everybody got to play the positions, whatever they wanted.
Right.
I told my dad I wanted to coach the team.
Oh, wow.
And so at 12 years old, that was my, I'd make the lineups, if the pitch, needed to go out to the mound, talk to the pitcher, did all that stuff. Yeah. So that was my first experience.
But even coaching at 18.
That's exciting.
Yeah. Serious.
Yeah,
that was smart.
See, that's one of the things that I have tried to inform people about, that not everybody wants the glamour jobs, and you know what I mean by that.
Absolutely.
That there are people that want to be, I'll call them the sanitation engineer. They want to be the farmer picking in the field. They want to do those things, and then there are those who want to be the athletes, who want to be at the top and so forth.
Right,
in
absolutely.
that context, there are people who want to be coaches from the get-go, and it's like, hello, there's a slot for everybody.
Absolutely.
The thing
Absolutely.
I was coaching for 27 years myself, basketball.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you get the same high. You know what I mean?
Yes.
When you call a play, you've got to be kidding me. I can't tell you how many games. My youngest son was so blessed. I was telling Dominique on the way, the Galita Boys and Girls Club, Sal Rodriguez. And by the way, he wanted to remind me that you've played twice and he's beaten you twice. Oh! Ow! I mean, he did say how good you were. Okay, but you haven't beaten him.
You know what?
I loved it. I died.
Yeah, no, he the first time we played at Westmont last year, that was a close game. We should have had him. Then that was came down to the final seconds. The second one was a winner take all league championship game.
Right.
And that was at Laguna, and they took us in that one. I will remind Sal that.
How about this? I'll buy it. Teen Sports Radio will buy it. I want whoever loses has to wear the "I beat you" shirt.
You know what? With the team that we have this year, I'm more than comfortable seeing Sal in that T-shirt.
Yeah, I like it. And I'm going to send this, clip, this little cut and paste. I know how to do that. Send them that. This is a little part
Absolutely,
of the show.
absolutely. I can't wait to see Sal in that.
And to add insult to injury, it must be pink.
A
Yes.
pink? A
There,
pink.
Pink.
Okay. All right, pink. I'm doing it today. I'm calling my guy.
Absolutely. I mean, pink. I think pink works. Because we're going to want Sal to really stand out.
Oh, he stands out.
It'd be great if we had a Providence logo at some point in there.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
So
on
you
the
can
back.
rep a Providence
and the
logo.
logos have blown up now. The logos are big.
Yeah,
Notice the new
absolutely.
look, they're all big. I had to maximize all the logos for Teen Sports Radio. Everything had to be big. Even the Westmont shirt that you were gifted with last week, huh? That was a big
That
Westmont.
was big.
That was real. But it says, it's Westmont.
No little print
I think
over
what
on
it
the
is because
alligator.
of the aging generation, we can't see. You know what I mean? Am I right? Right, D? Say something.
I think it's more of a picture soundbite.
Oh,
I like that. That's good. That's
She always
good.
comes up with the thoughtful, and I'm going to think about this now for 3 days.
Very poetic.
She is really good. Dominique Hackett, put your hands together.
Good morning.
Woo! All right, now you're going to say something. Okay, we're going to skip over Election Day, okay? Because
No. Pause on Election Day.
Right,
I just want to remind people, if you ever find that it's difficult to get out to the election and so forth, I set myself up with an absentee ballot. And the nice thing about that is I can fill it out in the comfort of my home, read about all the different issues and the different people, make my mark, and then on Election Day, I can walk it in and drop it off. So if anyone finds it difficult to participate in the election process, sign up for an absentee ballot. It works really well. Wouldn't it be fantastic if Santa Barbara County had 100% participation in the elections? That we have a voice.
Well,
that would just be
number
amazing.
one in so many things, huh?
Add one more thing, right?
Exactly. Why don't I just add another layer? That would be kind of cool. Because again, it doesn't matter just to vote. I mean, we're not talking politics. We're talking about getting out and voting.
Enjoy being a
voice.
citizen. You have a voice. Exactly. I think it's hugely important. So please take the time to vote.
Very good. Okay, so you want to add something else because you have so much stuff that you want to share. Go, what else? I know.
All right,
Yeah,
we just enjoyed a beautiful full moon.
Okay.
And so now is kind of the time where you're reaping the benefits of everything that's manifested during this time period. So now is the wonderful time to take all those great creative ideas, write them down, and map out what you need to do in order to take action on them.
Like maybe a new defense for Sal's team. No? I don't know.
Speaking, since we're talking defense,
what I would do,
team.
I'd press them. I mean, I tell you, what I used to do on every make, and I only did I did kindergarten through 9th grade, but every 7th and 8th grade team I've ever had, my most fun years is 7th and 8th grade. That's where my biggest excitement is because they still look at you like little puppies.
Oh, absolutely.
But my whole offense is when we make, we press. I mean, it's so easy to figure out, especially first 2 games. I made it that blend is for the team. If in a quarter they don't get past the half-court line, that's it. I mean, we crush them. I mean, and I go nuts. You know what I mean? You could imagine
break their spirit
That's
early.
It. Kill them. This is what I would do. Just press them. Just press them. That's it. Make press. That's
Makes
it.
teams uncomfortable.
Especially if fast. If you have legs, if you got legs on the squad. I mean, that's what you want to do. Oh, I just love the press. It's just so underused. It is.
It is. I know. Since we're talking Sal uses it a lot at Laguna because it's a smaller court.
Yes.
And I know he
learned
uses
it from
a lot.
the Goleta Boys and Girls Club. That's a half a court.
It's not Laguna's not much bigger. You
I know. It was awesome.
And we play. I mean, compared to our home gym at Westmont, it's like we're playing in an open field at Westmont.
Serious.
So much bigger.
It's true. Yeah, a lot of places to hide there, especially if you got both sides.
Yeah.
So we got another minute. So what we're going to do today, we are going to introduce again. We're going to have Calamity Jan in the house. I'm really excited to introduce her. Woo! She just finished her Audible book, but she's in the choir room. She's going to be coming in. So, Dr. D, I think this is a good time to take a break, hey?
I would say yes.
You want to take a little break?
Okay.
All right, that means it's go time. This is Erica Salda, the Queen of Teen. We'll be back with more after these messages. We are back, and this is the Santa Barbara Teen Sports Radio Show. I am your host, Erica Salda, the Queen Teen. Please tune in. every single Tuesday at 9 a.m. I flubbed on that, but that's all right. I don't care. You didn't stop laughing at me. I got a quick announcement. Everybody put their hands together. We finally got a yes from the AD of Providence Hall, who's been totally such a monster supporter. Oh, I can't say Hall.
That's right.
Just Providence. Let's drop that Hall. We don't need. Just drop the Hall. Just I said. Oh my.
We tried
goodness.
Providence Tunnel. That didn't fly.
Exactly. No, Providence
Ravine.
And he's
no.
going to correct me for
Just
probably 5 or 6 weeks, but that's okay. Because guess what? We have a new. Who do we have? You going to say who he is?
No clue.
Steve Stokes. I wanted you to know he's a co-host.
Hey! All right.
Obviously, I'm an important person around here.
Exactly.
You know?
No, he gets. No,
Who's that guy?
They
Who's
didn't
that
get
guy?
the memo. They didn't
he
post it on my
he
screen.
doesn't know what I'm going to do.
He really knows how to make me feel special.
Exactly. He knows you're in here. He knows you support the show, and he knows all that. And he knows you got to be a very key component because we all know in this house that how much you love kids.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's really all it takes to be a co-host on this show. So, and I love the school Providence. As a matter of fact,
There
you
you
can
go.
say it right now. The
Providence.
last 2 years, it's like voted what?
Back to back, we were voted the best private school here in town.
That's it.
Not just in the high school, but the middle school, the elementary school, like the lower
Wow.
campus,
You killed it.
elementary school, the preschool. We clean sweeped
That's it.
2 years in a row.
And no, you know, so how about? Are you going to say three-peat?
Yes,
Yeah,
and we're
I
three
like
feet.
that.
Easy, no problem.
I love that.
Three, no problem.
I love that. I put it out there. Great. So who did you bring?
I brought 2 of our basketball players. They're going to end up being 2 of our captains this year. We have Ricky Beebe
Woo, Ricky!
and Caleb Jones.
Caleb! Nice. All right. I hate to say this. I'm sure you get this all the time, but I'm like, I hear the last name, and I'm like, say what? As a Westmont alum, right?
Yeah.
So your dad's a pretty famous guy. Say what? Huh?
Yeah, I guess.
I tell you what, I tell you, he asked. I was one of the blessed businesses because I'm an alum and I stuck around Santa Barbara, and we were in Burnham Wood, and we were doing about the expanding, the economics department, and he was getting our insights as being a business owner, what our thoughts were. The funny thing is, I tell you, I've been in a lot of meetings for 32 years. I own my own company for 32 years. I've been very blessed to be able to be supported by this community. And there's very few people, honestly, I would go anywhere for your father. I mean, if he basically, I'm not kidding you, he wants things, we all would pour out anything that we had in our pocket. It's kind of like the way he asks should be bottled because it's so genuine and it's so loving. And he's just the kind of guy that, you want to be.
And I would agree. I've produced some interviews he's been a part of.
Right.
I would follow him anywhere.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
The genuine and, the type of person that he is has definitely, rubbed off on not only his son, but his son's best friend right here.
Nice, definitely. So what are you guys going to do for Providence this year?
Our basketball team, we are... we're starting to go up against the big dogs this year. We've upgraded our schedule, and we're primed for a pretty big season because of what these guys over here have been doing all off season with our workouts and our practices, and we're getting ready to we just finished our first fall league game.
Nice.
And these guys are ready to go. Well, it's on the.
I like it. I am looking at you. Don't look at me. Oh, I can tell when you don't want to talk about something.
Because the game's on the 17th, and I don't know how it went yet.
That was cute. That's all right. I like it.
I'm thinking ahead.
I know. Back at you.
Hey, guess what? We won.
I like that.
And we played well.
I know, that's it. You killed it. All right. And the best game you've ever had. I like that.
You should have been there.
Ricky rules. I was there. Don't you remember?
You were there. That's
exactly.
Right. You're a big Providence supporter, so why wouldn't you be?
That's exactly.
We're all there.
Absolutely.
Serious. Okay, so I want to ask each of your players a question about each other. Okay, Ricky, I want you to tell me something. What is Caleb's strength in basketball? What's his number one thing?
I think a big strength for Caleb is that he's probably going to be always the smartest guy on the floor, and he just always knows the best thing to do.
Nice. Okay, nice. Okay, where if you had to work on something, not that it's hard to be humble when you're perfect in every way, but what is his like a weakness? That's even a bad word. Like what could he work on to improve? Like what part of his game?
I He was recently placed as our new point guard, so
Nice.
he's been doing a great job. But
Wow.
I guess more progress there, I guess.
All right.
It's playing point guard is a new thing for Caleb, but the reason why we thought he'd be a good fit for that position is because, just like Ricky said,
Smart.
He's very smart. He just does not make mistakes. He's not going to turn the ball over.
Nice.
We're going to get quality possessions every time down. So
Nice. All right.
Did a great job on the 17th.
he did awesome.
All right. Caleb, get the mic. Talk to me about Ricky.
Oh, Ricky. There's just so much. It's hard to say. I'd say Ricky's definitely probably most aggressive on the team. He's one of the strongest, and he goes at it every time, no matter who he's up against, no matter what position he's playing or who's guarding him. He's going at it, and he's very smart too, and he knows when to score and when to kind of pull it out. And he's definitely, the aggressiveness that he brings really helps the team and pushes everyone else on the team.
Nice.
Well, his T-shirt says it all. We own the center.
Nice.
Yeah,
So
you do.
watch out.
When we bring the pads out, during practice, I'm always a little bit careful when Ricky comes. I think it probably hurts me a little bit more than it hurts him.
Fantastic. Okay, so if Caleb, what does Ricky need to work on? Does he need to work on anything? What? He's got that smile. He doesn't have to work on that.
Well, I'd say Ricky should work on being my backup point guard.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right, let's do this. Let's take a real quick. Give me one adjective about your coach and the athletic director of Providence. One adjective each. That's what describes a noun. Go ahead. Caleb, you're first. You're the smart one.
Energetic.
Energetic! I like it. All right, Ricky's like, oh, you took my word. Ricky's like, you took my word. Go ahead, Ricky.
Extremely positive.
Extremely positive. All right.
And I think, Ricky, you really need to lighten up. Have a little more fun in life.
Hey. Wow. Put your hands together, guys. Woo! Hey, Dr. D, looks like another good time to take a break, eh?
Absolutely.
All right, it's go time. This is Erica Salda, the Queen of Teen. We'll be back with more after these messages. We are back. And woo! Yeah!
All right.
This is Erica Salda, the Queen of Teen. All right. I want to talk to my friend, my buddy, and I love the Audible book. I love it. Put your hands together. All right, Calamity Jan's in the house. All right, I'm going to first go over to Dr. D. Dr. D, you love the book.
I'm sorry, I'm not allowed to reveal any information until...
It was good. You know what it is? It's like if you read a book. I can't even imagine, and I know this was a big undertaking for you.
Absolutely.
But you had a great coach.
Oh my gosh.
And she
Isn't
did
it?
really well. She did really well.
Yeah, it was
for her first try.
Right.
Yeah.
You know how I was trained?
And here's the thing that when people will hear the audiobook and they may hear things that, hey, they might, gee, well, why did they do that? Why did you don't want if we wanted it pristine perfect, we could have gotten a computer voice, okay? Right. But that's not what we want. We wanted to have it as if we were having a bedtime story read to us.
Right.
Okay?
Yeah.
Now, I was sharing with her that in 5th grade, my teacher, Mrs. Larson, after lunch would have us all come in and we'd lay on the floor and she would read to us. And one of the books she read to us was Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory.
Wow.
Oh, it was great. So this is what this is like. And we had a great deal. And I'm sitting here marking my book as we go along. Right. Each paragraph that we finish, I check, okay, got that, that's good, that's good. Oh, got to go back and redo this and we'll edit it and it'll sound great. But I'm getting into the story. I mean, and there's parts of the story where I'm tearing up. Okay. Because of I'm not going to even reveal any of the information about the story, about certain parts of the book where I'm starting to get choked up going, oh, wow, and I'm seeing the thing, the movie is playing in my head as she's reading, but that's just me. That's what I do. I'm watching the events and the train travel and the kid and the dog and the conductor and on and on and on, and the space aliens and the time travel. But it's really good. It's really, really good. I really enjoyed it. So again, hats off to you for making the effort for doing something that you'd never done before.
Oh, Richard, hands off to you and everyone here at Teen Sports Radio, Santa Barbara. I'm just overwhelmed and excited about launching into a new area. As an author of 18 books, I have never done an audiobook. And I realize there are so many people who love the storytelling time. And so anyway, that's what it's about.
You know what's so amazing is the Audible book allows you to reach an even wider audience because we have a huge amount of our population that is unable to see, and now they get to participate in the story. Yeah. So I'm so excited that you're doing this, and I have to tell you, I must have over 300 Audible books. I love having an Audible book, and especially if I've enjoyed reading it, I will frequently get the Audible book so that I can enjoy it again while I'm driving.
You have them on your phone?
I do.
Yeah, I do too. I have different books on my phone too.
Yeah, and it's a way to participate in lifelong learning. But your stories are so exciting, and I'm just so happy. When I was a parent, I used to have stories on cassette for my kids to listen to. And so now to have your books just really easy to access, that's so exciting.
Yeah.
And Erica has story time now.
That's right.
Because Erica was denied story time growing up as a child. And let me tell you one thing. When I had to find story time, and I found it at Goleta Valley Library, and when my kids were little, and they were little, 6 and 3, we used to just drag my take little blankets, pillows, because Joe would be knocked out. I mean, as soon as the lady started talking, he was like, Grandma, he was in Night Land, okay? And John, I just had to keep him, I had to watch him because he was bouncing all over the place. But I was the one that I think enjoyed it as much as, if probably more. And I shushed everybody, because I really wanted to get the gist because I never got to have story time. Yeah. So this is Jan, you did this for me, kind of. Just so you know.
I'll tell you, I read and recorded my first book in when I was 22. And actually, no, I was 21, come to think of it. Anyway, and I remember the process that's required. I sit back here on the other side, and I record Calamity Jan. She's reading her book. But when you're running the equipment, and back then we didn't have the computers. It was a reel-to-reel. It's quite a process because you have to prove it yourself. I didn't have anybody else but me. So now I go back and I listen to it and I'm going, okay, I didn't catch that one and that one. But it was okay. Because then, of course, back then I was working for a radio reading service for the blind and visually impaired, which, by the way, was similar to what the recordings for the blind and when I moved to Santa Barbara, the dyslexic, and it took me not very long to understand why. Why the dyslexic? I've never heard, and it's like, it makes perfect sense.
It does, absolutely. I didn't think about that either.
You'd be good reading a book. You would.
I might, start dabbling a little bit.
I got a Popular Mechanics edition. I'd like to.
Our teachers at Providence have asked that I, because now all of a sudden they're going away from some books and they're putting it all on the iPads, kind of like a Kindle, and they've asked, hey, you should just read our textbooks and have our textbooks on tape,
Yeah.
Well, you know what I think would be really fun for athletes if they have like a lot of plays or a lot of moves that they're trying to think about and memorize. It's great to make an audio recording of some of the notes that you're trying to remember.
Exactly. Yeah.
And then you
really drills it home when you're hearing it through another voice.
You can replay it. And the nice thing about hearing your own voice, we had to learn this on radio. When you first hear your voice on the radio show, you're like, no, that's another person. That's not me. Your voice
took me 5 years to stay in the room when other people were listening to my stuff.
It sounds really different, and you just have to get used to it. But when you record things and you record text from the books, or you record your sports plays and you replay it for yourself, wow, this is giving your body and your nervous system another way to incorporate information.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's all about how we individually learn. And the kids on the team, I could not use anybody. If anybody was like a strung out kind of kid, you are not going to let them get a focus on a piece of paper drawing out a play. Lost it. But if I grabbed him by the shirt and rammed him into me, and I'm like, who are you going to throw the ball to? It's just like one thing. You only got to remember one thing. I'm throwing the ball to you. You're going to throw it to who? Okay, bingo. That's it.
There's a lot of people that are, kinesthetic learners. Like they actually have to go out and do and experience it. And that's kind of what you're doing with this book here. You're allowing them to experience it and letting their imaginations go wild a little bit.
Well, one of the things that I loved about listening to audiobooks when I was a kid growing up was the ability to not just listen, and of course my own film production company is running off the film in my head. I would build models, planes, trains, boats, and that kind of stuff. And so I have great memories when I go back and listen to some of these books of those models that I built, and even some of the events that were going on. So it's a great memory jogger. But you get to do things while you're listening to the book. If you're driving, okay, fine. But let's say you have a hobby that you can do with your hands.
Or you have house chores.
Or gardening, or whatever it is. And now you have that story sort of imprinted on those activities.
Yeah,
and that's kind of neat.
The other thing I appreciate about your books, Jan, is that your books are based on history.
Yeah.
I love historical fiction. That's my favorite way to learn about history.
Thank you so much, all of you. It's just exciting because a writer in the beginning really needs to be a storyteller. And I was growing up, and you were talking, each of us have our memory time, but when we were young and when I was young, I could not stop telling stories to the neighborhood kids, to my siblings, because I would have all these spooky stories. I would scare them. To me, the goal was to get them so scared that they...
That was Sal Rodriguez's name.
Ooh.
That's what he used to do. Not to keep bringing his name up.
These
Sorry.
stories, they're very scary kids. Ooh.
So
I can see that. I could see that from Sal.
Especially right after Halloween.
Yeah.
Well, here we are, right after Halloween, and the spooky, scary history mysteries, I call it now. Thank you, Dominic, for that about historical fiction, because it's true. There is just so much of our rich past that we get to, as authors, bring to the front and to the fore, and bring to children, bring to adults.
Yeah, and this being election day, also very scary stories.
There it is.
Not being political.
Well, I just want to say it's very interesting that history is history. It's a story.
Story, yes.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah, I've always seen it, yeah.
I never knew that. I hate when she does that.
You and me both, Erica.
I know.
I'm
Did
right
you ever
there
hear
with
that?
you.
His story. I didn't.
I've
I
never
never
heard that,
broke
no.
No. At least you admit it.
Yeah,
this
you
is
know.
me. I have to break it down. Like, oh my God, this is true.
And for equal time, her story, but you know.
Exactly.
To your credit, I didn't admit it until you admitted it also.
Yeah.
So
See,
you
I know.
you allowed me the comfort here to come out.
I've been reminded a lot growing up. Never assume. We all know how that breaks down,
yes,
right?
yes,
yeah.
yes.
And my dad was like great at reminding me of that word. Okay. But history, I like that, Dee.
Yeah.
Good one.
Oh, yeah. Very good, yeah.
Do you want to have a little? Go ahead.
Sure, we'll have her do a little something. What I think is interesting about incorporating history into fiction, at least for the one listening, is knowing what part is history and what part's fiction. And I guess that's the interesting juxtaposition that I want to pose a question to you, Jan.
Yes.
Is just that, is when we read these stories, how do we separate the history from the characters in the story?
Well, that's just the great eternal question, of course, and every author does it differently, and every experience is different. But first, we as authors, as writers, need to get a hold of what really, really happened a long time ago, if we indeed are doing historical fiction, which I do. Mm-hmm. And I have been able to take a piece of history, and usually that piece comes to me in an unexpected way. But it is it's sort of the benchmark and the bright shining light that starts my story in motion and begins my creative imagination. And I like to say creativity is so much a part of historical fiction, because if it isn't, it'll be pretty boring.
Well, for me, my memory works best when I have emotion. That it helps me, when I really care about a topic, I'll remember the history of something because there's emotion attached to it. And that's part of what your stories do, is it helps engage a child's emotion and where they want to learn more about that time period.
Yeah.
Okay, I looked it up. It's actually her story.
Of
course.
Come on.
I got you, Dee.
No,
Dee, I
no,
got
better.
you.
I know
The Greek
better.
word is her story.
History from the Greek, her story.
Hey, let's take a break and then we'll come back with
All right.
Jan doing some
Absolutely.
reading. Okay.
All right.
Cool. This
Do
is
it.
Erica Salda, the Queen of Teen. We'll be back with more after these messages. We are back, and this is the Santa Barbara Teen Sports Radio Show. I am your host, Erica Salda, the Queen of Teen. Please tune in
Every single Tuesday.
9 a.m. and not Dr. D, Dominique. Where else can you find us?
We are on, my favorite's Facebook, but we're on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, and the internet at teensportsradio.com. And you know what, Erica? The really fun thing about our website, which it's been newly revised. I really appreciate
Thank you, Robert Burrows.
Yeah.
You mean it has new paint?
Yes.
It has new paint. It does.
Got some Botox.
But the nice thing is, we're trying our best to make it so that the community gets involved. So we have a place for nonprofits to get involved, and we have a place for businesses to get involved. And it's so fun as a business. We all communicate. We all give something to the nonprofits that we are really fond of. And if you let Teen Sports Radio know about your giving, we give you a free business ad. So that's just so wonderful to be able to participate and grow our community based upon the giving that we give to our kids.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Why aren't you saying that every week? We could write that down. As is.
Yeah.
That was perfect. That was perfect, Tex.
So part of what being involved with Teen Sports Radio is, we are all dedicated to getting donations to our kids, whether it's services and hours and time. We're trying to inspire our kids into sports and activities that help them grow into happy human beings.
Thank you, Dominique. Woo! Yeah, we're more than happy to participate. And the nice thing is, it all goes to the kids.
Absolutely.
Right? Which is nice, because the checks are payable to your favorite nonprofit. Yeah. So,
and by the way, to dovetail off of what Dominique said, and I've made this comment on other programs as well as probably this one when we've talked about education, and they talk about money is tight and all this kind of stuff. And I say, if you're going to cut anything from the curriculum, cut the basics. Keep the music, keep the athletics, keep all of the other things, because Dominique, you probably would agree that those things foster that brain function. Plus the fact, let's say in music, you've got to learn math in order to understand beats and rhythm and all of those things, as well as in sports. I'm sure that Steve would agree that you have to have you've got to have some math skills in order to understand, like in basketball, in terms of geometry and the rimming of the ball off the rim or bouncing the ball.
I was about to say there's a lot of angles.
Baseball, football, basketball, all those things require the geometry, or I don't know, trig, and so on and so forth. So to me, supporting the kids in these endeavors helps the inside, not just the outside. Helps the brain to function better.
Develop.
Yeah, to develop.
Just like you talked about earlier, different kids, they learn in different ways, and if they can use something that they're really interested in, and you can relate it back to something that they learn in school, it's something that they could really grab onto. And
Well, the saddest thing is when you find a student and he says, well, what they're having me study in school doesn't matter. And that, my heart just sinks, because everything that we learn matters. And when we can integrate what we're learning into life right away, I mean, that's the fun thing that sports does for us, is it helps us integrate our communication skills, our knowledge about how to be healthy and happy and positive attitudes, and just brainstorming about how to win a game. This is exciting and fantastic, and just enriches our human experience.
Yes, absolutely.
I mean, a child's attitude is everything, because, I'm I like the whole homeschool, as you know, and more of a chartered school where a kid, you could assess a child's gifts and talents and then make them go in that direction. But I can't tell you how many times that I was pretty much forced to do something, did not want to do it, kicked and screamed and dragged myself to it, and then got there, and it just opened up a whole new universe. So it's kind of like you just have to go through those core subjects, because you really don't know. And then that could be the next Einstein. You know what I mean? You don't know, because as much energy as you're resisting something, once you open up, it's just another, universe of explosion. It's awesome.
Remember too, though, that if he's a bad student in math, could be the next Einstein. Because remember, exactly. Einstein was bad in math.
Yeah, he just didn't he just wanted to do his math. Well, it was his math. You know what I mean? The math.
What Einstein had that's so amazing and it's so youthful in athletics is that visualization. Yeah. He was doing experiments in his brain. Mm-hmm. So we can do the same thing with sports. We can experiment in our brain and see whether a particular move or a particular series of doing things with our teammates is going to work out.
Steve's right now trying to draft a new offense for Sal Rodriguez. I'm not going to let it go, Pinky.
They need it.
I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to make you wear that. I'm going to send this shirt to him. I'm going to make you wear that pink shirt on the show. And I'm going to bury you, because Sal's my guy.
It's a good thing we're on Instagram.
I know, it's serious.
A good thing on
That's
Instagram.
Right. And then I want to let Gil be over here, because, Andy Gill is like your Ninja Warrior fan.
That's my guy.
Yeah, he's your guy. All right. Because you're going to get beat up that show. You better not lose.
You know what? I'm glad that Sal's comfortable enough.
What's the date?
We play the first time on December 3rd.
I'm going. Because I want to bring the shirt.
December 3rd, exactly a month from
At
today.
Westmont?
You better
It's at
take
Laguna,
pictures.
that one.
Oh, Laguna.
Take pictures.
At Laguna.
You know it. You're going too. What do you say? Put it down. December 3rd, we're all going. Oh, my goodness. I'll spend the
man.
first half on the Providence, no hall, because we decked the hall. And then the second half, I'm going to go on the Laguna side, because, Erica's Switzerland. Erica just wants to get everybody fired up and excited. So, speaking of being fired up and excited, we're back to Jan.
All right.
Okay. So, listen, sorry, we swagged. That's what we do on this show.
Well, it's great. It's so much fun to be here and be circled with the Santa Barbara energy and all these marvelous things going on for teens and, well, for us too as adults, young and old. And speaking of which, if you're going to be a writer, and by golly, you better look in and hone your writing skills, because it's going to be something you'll need all of your life. And so I am just really proud that this storyteller turned into a writer, because I thought I was just going to be telling stories all of my life until, time changes. And we don't have time for all of that, except to say that this imagination, this creative brain, this mind, this soul really does need to let loose. And we get to do it in so many different ways in sports or all the kinds of things, Dr. D, that you know about, all of you. And myself as a writer, I love to write a story, to write a book. And as you know, my pen name for most of my books is Calamity Jan. And if you look for me up there on the internet, you're going to get Calamity Jane. I want to warn you, Calamity Jane and I are different, but we kind of are alike in certain ways. Now, I mentioned this probably before, but she had 12 husbands. I didn't. So I haven't.
One was good enough.
Yeah, right. One or two, and
One or two.
Oh, yeah, but not 12. But
Not 12. Not 12.
Hence Calamity Jane.
She's a lady.
Calamity.
Yeah, she's a calamity. And so am I. I'm kicking up dust right now in these years, and I'm not as young as some of these teen listeners or even parents here today, but I'm very young inside of myself. That's why I can write kids' books. But I usually need to be inspired by something, and every book has its little rock inspiration. And here was one that I found for this book, which is number 5 in the Ghost Town Mystery Series. So number 5 book is what we're talking about today. It's called Ghost Girl in Car Number 9. It's a story that takes place in 1873. But also, it's a very contemporary story. I saw a newspaper article about a very old woman, and she was almost 100 years old, and she was writing about her early days in the Nevada Orphans Asylum. Well, that hit the inner center of me, because I thought, oh my gosh, and it was a hard journey for this then young woman to go to an orphanage, having lost her family, and grow up in something so huge and frightening. And so I wrote in the end of this book, on the epilogue, which I want to share with you, that this Nevada's Orphan Asylum truly did exist, and it was opened in Virginia City, Nevada, May 1867, by 2 nuns. And they were the Sisters of Charity. It was led by Sister Frederica McGrath. Eventually, this orphans asylum was taken over by the state of Nevada. It existed in Carson City for many years and closed up finally in 1963. But I knew I had a story, because the John Walker at the Nevada State Railroad Museum kept saying to me, Jan, please write the story of the ghost girl who keeps appearing on car number 9. It's been over 100 years. I'm hearing these stories. And I thought to myself, tell me more. And he says, I don't have any more. And so my imagination, so the little girl, the kid in me, came to life and began to create around all these pieces of history, including this very frightening place where many children had to go, and they had to live out their lives. My story just took shape. It grew and became Ghost Girl in Car Number 9, and I am just so excited, because I think children love this, but the fact that it's going to branch out now into audiobooks for children who aren't reading or can't read, it's an incredible offer that you've given to me, and I thank you all so much.
Hey, I think it's time again. I know what I wanted to spend the whole last segment, Jan, on you reading, because it's story time for Erica, okay? And the Queen wants for story time, right, Dee? Yeah. All right, so let's take a short little break. All right, we're going to listen to our sponsors, all right? Please remember those businesses that are supporting the show, and if you're out there in the community, acknowledge them, because that's really what it's all about. These commercials that Dr. D has produced, and they're all complimentary. And the reason why they're complimentary, because the amount of support that these individuals have given to our teen athletes. So let's take a short little break. This is Erica Salda, the Queen of Teen. We'll be back with more after these messages. We are back, and this is the Santa Barbara Teen Sports Radio Show. I am your host, Erica Salda, the Queen of Teen. Please tune in
every single Tuesday,
9 a.m. All right, Dominique, you put your finger up in the air. You want me to pray? What?
Well, no, I enjoy good books so much. I was just wondering, do we have time for Jan to just maybe share a little clip from her book? Maybe
Sure.
she could, set up what is actually happening and then just share a little bit from her book.
All right, let's do it.
It's a great idea.
Yeah, thank you so much. Oh, this is always fun. You ask me to share, and I warn you. But I think that Ghost Girl in car number 9 is so important because there were so many amazing stories out of history. Some might have been your own grandparents or great-great-great-grandparents, and these stories really need to be told. And I encourage you all to be thinking of your own stories and your own family history or something that's coming out of the inside of you, because it's priceless. And so as I read and shared before this blurb, I saw the orphan asylum. What a horrible thing, but it happened to hundreds and thousands of children in the state of Nevada, as it did all over our country and as it does all over the world, because there are so many children who have lost, for whatever reason, their parents. So this story is set in 1872, just after the railroads came in, replacing the Pony Express. You see, by this time, there just wasn't any good, fast communication from one side of the country to the other, and the Pony Express set the stage, and then moving in was the railroad. So this particular story, which I have created from history, is about Jenica Teague. And just to give a little idea, she's leaving Reno, Nevada on the Virginia and Truckee Railroad. And she's going to Virginia City to the Orphans Asylum. And she's got her little dog, because that's all that's left in the world. But she knows as she's traveling, and she gets word that she cannot keep her dog. The asylum, the people will not let her, and she's terrified. She doesn't want to go. And suddenly she loses her dog accidentally in a historical fire that did occur in a railroad tunnel in 1873 at Lakeview, Nevada. So to set this in motion, they are searching for this girl. The conductor has been hiding her out. But suddenly, word has come, and I'm going to read this segment so that you will know she is trying to run, trying to hide. But suddenly, Hattie, where she is now staying, and that's the conductor's wife, cries out, "Mercy, mercy." Hattie burst out, wringing her hands and nodding her muslin apron in despair. "It is dreadful, dreadful." Jenica ran up to the woman. "Oh, pray tell, Hattie, what has happened?" "They have come for you, Jenica." A silence as deadly as a stealthy rattlesnake hit the room.
Run, Jenica, run. I'm sorry. Oh, no, it scared me. Go ahead.
Who has come? Brooke spoke first, breaking the stranglehold of fear gripping them all. "Representatives from the Children's Asylum in Virginia City," she said, reaching for Jenica. "Oh, child, No, no, Jenica cried out. I shan't go to the orphans' asylum. I shan't. Jenica cried, angry tears stinging her eyes. I am sorry, the distraught woman told her. They are returning tomorrow to fetch you. I begged them to let us keep you, but they refused. Brooks backed up, fear and anger surging like a zephyr wind inside of him. Tomorrow. No. Yes. They had been searching the trains until someone told them you were staying with us, Hattie went on despairingly. They thought I might be hiding you. I told them you were out searching for your lost dog. What did they say? Mickey asked. They said it's just as well the dog is gone, because you wouldn't be allowed to keep him at the orphanage.
Holy cow! Hey, wow, I got goosebumps.
Whoa.
I gotta go. Goodbye. We had in the house Ricky, Caleb, my co-host, of course, Dr. D, Dominique, Stevie. All right, good luck. You better get that out of bounds play together, okay? We're gonna be in the house. Teen Sports Radio will be there in December at Laguna.
Can't wait.
All right.
Cannot wait.
God bless Santa Barbara. See you next week. Please tune in and join us next Tuesday at KZSB AM 1290 at 9:06 a.m. when we will go behind the scenes with the local students, athletes, coaches, parents, volunteers, and all other teen sports supporters. This is all brought to you by ePro Insurance Agency, leader in gift planning and wealth preservation since 1983. So please follow along and support our student athletes by reading the Santa Barbara News Press, and then join me, Erica Salda, the Queen of Teen, Dr. Dugan, my co-host, friends, teens, every week on the Santa Barbara News Press radio station.
You're the best around.